Well, happy Friday to everybody. Hope your week has gone well. You're looking forward to the weekend, whatever you have planned. Of course, next week is Thanksgiving, so I'm sure people will have plans for that as well. But today is Friday. I believe I tell you what, when you get retired, you kind of lose what day of the week it is. It's the 21st. I know it's Friday, but it's the date of the calendar date is what I'm talking about. It's the 21st of November, 2025 when we stream this. But in our world, we're on June the 1st, 1987. It's the final game from June the 1st, 1987. Final American League game, I should say, from June the 1st, 1987. Of course, as has happened the last couple of days, or last couple of, you know, days in the replay, been playing one National League game just to try to get the National League feel as well. Let the Strat computer sim everything else. But here we're in Milwaukee. The Brewers lead the Yankees and the Blue Jays by half a game, so if they want to keep their lead, they need to win today. It'll be Tom Troublehorn's Yankees against Billy Gardner's Kansas City Royals. Of course, Billy Gardner will get fired, and John Watson will take over later on. So that's going to be our pitching match, or our game matchup. Our pitching matchup is left-hander Charlie Leibrandt for the Royals and right-hander Bill Wegman for the Brew Crew. Brew Crew coming to the game 30-15. Kansas City comes in 24-22, and Kansas City is hot on the heels of the Oakland A's. So if they can beat the Oakland A's, who they and of course they got a break having Oakland lose to Baltimore the other day, so they can pull within a game of first place with the win. Hello, Blaine. Hello, BC. Is that Mr. Church? I'm trying to figure out if that's you or not. Jeff, good morning to you. And Colin, good morning to you. Yes, I am enjoying my retirement. I wasn't sure what I didn't really have any expectation. All right, here we go. Cool. I didn't really have any expectations, but I can tell you one thing: I've not been bored. I've always found something to do. Of course, this is a good section of it is doing something like this just to enjoy a hobby that I can finally get a chance to enjoy a lot of. When I was working and working long hours, I didn't really have a whole lot of time to put into the hobby. So I want to feel like that, now I have time to do it. So anyway, that's that. We're at County Stadium. Singles are 1-6 and home runs are 1-5. This is game number 340 out of however many games there are that we play in this American League replay. Bill Wegman's 4-1. Charlie Brandt is 2-4. Got the game on the computer, so we'll get this ball rolling pretty quickly. Bill Wegman is your starter. He was 12-11, 424 in the real season. And we'll see how he compares in the replay. We know he's 4-1, but I'll check all the other notations here as we go to the computer. 4-1 with a 3.50 ERA, 69 innings pitched, 67 hits, 17 walks, and 31 strikeouts. And leading things off for the Kansas City Royals will be the veteran Willie Wilson. Wilson on the replay is hitting an even 300 and 170 at bats. He had 610 at bats real world and hit 279. So we'll see if he can keep his hot streak going. And as has been tradition here the last couple, I think I just started it this week. The can't roll the dice without a ceremonial first sip. So this is the ceremonial first sip. And as Jeff would say, that's good coffee. And it's hot because I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds before I came up here. And that's to try to keep it as warm as long as possible. Just the way it goes. All right. Let's get this sucker going here. Hello, Mike. Good to see you. And yes, Jeff, that is good coffee. I can I can vouch for that. Now, it's McDonald's coffee because it's the weekday. Tomorrow morning, we'll have the good Javelia coffee because that's the way I like to do it. I did it when I was working, so I wanted to keep the tradition where I kind of treated myself on the weekend to a little bit more. Although the price on the coffee is about the same, but it's a little bit more gourmet type coffee. This is just McDonald's coffee, but very good nonetheless. All right, Willie Wilson will start us off. 3-11 for Wilson, and that's a ground ball to first, and easy play for Greg Brock. And it's a good idea for Milwaukee to keep Mr. Wilson off the bases. One away. I think I'm missing a little bit of the dice tray, so I don't want to totally make sure I'm where I need to be here. Let's move this over just a bit. It's a slight delay, so I got to wait to see it on my side to see what I'm looking at. Make sure I've got what I need here. Let's get this back over just a bit. Apologize for that, but I do want to get it now. It looks like it's kind of tilted for some odd reason, so let's see if I can't fix that. See if I can get this back to where something just got out of whack there. All right, so I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I want to get close enough to the cards where you can see it, but I also don't want to have half the dice tray cut off. That's the bad part about having a large dice tray is it takes a while to fit it in. That little dice tray that Jeff had on his channel was small enough where you didn't have to go as wide with the views, so it was easier. At least I think it was in that aspect. But I've had this thing here for 5 or 6 years now and just always enjoyed it. It's a little loud sometimes. I mean, I thought about putting some felt over the back here to make it not so loud, but what are you going to do? All right, here's Kevin Seitzer. Seitzer, the third baseman for the Royals, hitting .268, 8 homers, 28 driven in. He hit .303 real world. Oh, cool, Colin. Which set did you get? Did you get the current set or one of the older sets? 2-5 for Seitzer. The ground ball to short, and Swain makes the play. 2 down. 2 easy outs so far. And that'll bring up Danny Tartable, the right fielder. Tartable hitting .302 on the replay. 11 homers, 35 driven in. He hit .309 real world. 5-12. 5-12 is going to be a fly ball right field X. That's Glenn Braggs. He's a 3E13. 3 and a 6 is going to be iffy, but I think he might get to it. No, he won't. 3 and a 6 is a single, so it does drop in. That's a 13, and Braggs is a 13 as well. So we got 13 and 13. There's a 12 and a 15, but no 13. So it won't be an error, but Tartable will sneak in a base hit, dropping it right in front of Glenn Braggs. So with 2 outs, Tartable's aboard for the DH, Thad Bosley. Tartable no threat to run, really, so they won't hold him on. And Bosley on the replay has been struggling, hitting 170 in 53 at-bats. He's 279 real world. 2-7 for Bosley, and he struck him out. So Bosley continues to struggle. And Wegman gets out of the inning. No damage done, just the lone single, and that was it. Look at the bottom of the first. And Charlie Leibrandt, the left-hander, will be on the mound for the Royals. 16-11 with a 3.41 ERA in the real season. On the replay, he is 2-4 with a 3.30 earned run average. 76 innings pitched, 63 hits, 23 walks, and 64 strikeouts. Paul Molitor will lead things off. Oh, 1920, cool. I've got that set. I haven't done much with it, but I do have it. Absolutely. I would have bought 1911, but they didn't have them in stock. But they went out of stock a long time ago. But yes, I did buy 1920. I haven't played it yet, but I did buy it, and I have it all sorted and everything else. That's good coffee, Jeff. All right, here's Molitor. He's hitting .402 on the replay. 6 homers, 32 driven in. Hit .353 real world. 6-8, and that's a fly to center field. Willie Wilson will haul it in. One down. All right, here is Robin Yount. He is hitting .322, 10 homers, 39 driven in. He hit .312 real world. That's a 6-8, and that's a pop-up to first base where Mr. Bye-Bye Balboni will take it in. 2 down. 2 up, 2 down, and that's going to send up Cecil Cooper, the designated hitter. Cooper hitting .222 on the replay. 6 homers, 17 driven in. He hit .248 real world. Lefty-lefty matchup. 5-9 struck him out. So easy inning there for Charlie Leibrandt. He goes through the Brewers, no problem. We've completed 1, no score from Milwaukee. Bill Wegman back out. He'll be facing White, Jackson, and Balboni. Frank White, the veteran, hitting .226, 4 homers, 15 driven in. He hit .245 real world. It's a 4-11, and that's a ballpark single check, which is a 1-6, and that's a 4. So it's going to drop in for a base hit for Frank White. White, no threat to run. He won't be held, and here comes Bo Nose. Bo Jackson hitting .238 on the replay, 6 homers, 16 driven in. He hit .235 real world. See what Bo knows. 2-6, and that's a strikeout. Bo knows how to strike out. Strikeout number 2 for Mr. Wegman. And that brings up Balboni. And Wegman reminds me of Wegman Supermarket. I'm not sure if that's a local chain or if that's a national chain. I have no idea, but we do have a Wegman Supermarket around here. Like I said, I don't know if that's, something that's regional or what it is. But here's Bye-Bye Balboni. He's hitting .159 on the replay. 8 homers, 17 driven in. He hit .207 real world. 3-9 for Bye-Bye, and he's got a 1 for a triple. Anything else he flies to left. Don't know how many triples he would have had. He had 1 triple in the season, and he would have gotten it had that double dive been a 1. So Bye-Bye Balboni is still waiting for his one and only triple to come along. That'll bring up Angel Salazar. Salazar hitting .243 on the replay. 2 homers, 11 driven in. He hit .205 real world. Hello, Dr. D. Salazar. 6-9, and that's a single to right field. Frank White runs at a 13, was not being held as a 14. 2 outs makes him a 16. Going from right field to left field, you add 2 more, makes it an 18. Braggs is a -2 to make it a 16. Do they want to throw through? Because if they throw through, Salazar is going to take third on the throw. So I think Frank White's going to take third. And they'll throw it into second base to keep Salazar at first. There are 2 outs, so him being at third or second probably isn't that big of a deal. And that'll send up Jamie Quirk. Salazar will be held. He has the asterisk there. Leibrandt is a -1 hold, and so is Wegman. They're both -1 hold. So Salazar won't go anywhere, but he will at least be held. Wegmans is the national chain. Okay. All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Sometimes you don't know about these things. I mean, some things you know are national and some things you're not too sure. Like I know at a grocery store, but I think it's just in the South called Piggly Wiggly. I remember seeing those around, but I think that's a Southern thing. So, but the old Safeway chains, I think, and A&Ps were probably Safeway A&P. That stuff was probably national. All right, here's Jamie Quirk. He's hitting .272, no homers, 10 driven in. He at .236 real world. Runners at the corners, 2 outs. It is a clutch situation. In the clutch, Quirk gains a hit on 1-9 and on 2-6 and 2-8. Got 3 hits to gain on that. But this is a 4-8, and that's still going to be good enough for him. It's a 1-3 double, 4-20 is a single. That's a single, 2 stars, and that will score the first run of the game. Salazar will take third, and the Kansas City Royals grab a 1-0 lead here in the top of the second. And we flip the order over to Willie Wilson. Quirk, no threat to run, will not be held at first base. Hello, Dan. Good to see you. Here is Willie Wilson. 2-8 for Wilson. He's going to single to left, but it's an anti-clutch result for Wilson. We're still in a clutch situation with the runner at third and 2 outs. So this single will turn into an out for Willie Wilson. It'll just be a pop-up to second base. I'll circle that as an anti-clutch result. And that will do it for the Royals. They do get a run, but could have been more without the anti-clutch. But we use the clutch ratings in the Super Advanced, so therefore he fails in that clutch result. Bottom of the second we go. No piggies, no Piggly Wigglies north of Virginia. Okay. I know I've seen their trucks, like you see them on I-95, especially if you're down in North Carolina or they're coming up from North Carolina and stuff like that. So I figured it was kind of a regional southeastern thing probably. I think they have them in Florida though. I'm not sure. Might be from Florida to Virginia all the way up the East Coast. I'm not sure. The whole thing, just when I saw Bill Wegman, that was the name that came to my mind, was the grocery store. All right, here's Rob Deere, left fielder. He's hitting 243 on the replay, 6 homers, 27 driven in. He hit 238 real world. It's a 2-8, and that's going to be a 1 for a double, but anything else he'll fly to center field. And Willie Wilson will put it away. Here's Glenn Braggs. Braggs hitting 285, 6 homers, 30 driven in. He hit 269 real world. 1-5 for Braggs against the lefty, and that's a ground ball to short. That's 2 away. You know what? I think I misread something for Rob Deere. Hold on, folks. I think I misread the last roll for Rob Deere. Let me go back and look at this is a Jeffrey Guterman instant replay special, because I think I misread it and read it off the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side, and I want to get it right. So let me see what's going on with that. Checking the replay now. The roll was a 2-8, and I did read it off the left-hand side. And I did give him a fly ball to center. But against left-handers, that would be a single, because the D20 was a 5. Actually, it's going to be a double, because the D20 was a 5. It's a 5 here, but it was a 5 on the original roll too. So that's actually going to be switched to a double. So we have to correct this for now. All right, Rob Deere. I don't have to correct anything, or do I? Actually, I had him out of order. How did that happen? Should have been Glenn Braggs, not Deere. So we'll keep the original. You know what? Should I keep the original row or just I think I'm just going to restart the whole freaking thing, because we had the wrong batter. Read the wrong dice, so we're not going to have the 2-8 roll for Braggs. We're just going to let that be a re-roll. I think it's only fair to just start all over again here. Reboot. We'll keep the fly to center. Oh, you know what happened? It's not that they're out of order. I just didn't move Deere. I left him in the spot there for whatever reason. I don't know what happened to that. Yes, Dr. D, especially as I get older, stuff happens to me all the time. You think it's your body, but sometimes it's your mind that does that, or your senses, or whatever. I did a lot of yard work yesterday, so I was kind of tired, and I kind of overslept a little bit compared to what I usually get up around 7. But today I slept in till almost 8 o'clock, so I'm a little bit slow in my routine. This is only my second cup of coffee, so it happens. So I believe Deere fly to center to start the game, or start the inning. Let me make sure the computer is reflecting that. I think it is. I just want to double check it, make sure we're up to snuff here. Yes, I've got the fly out there. So now what happened was, apparently what happened was I forgot to move Rob Deere to bat. So it's actually going to be Glenn Braggs batting. 2-8 on Glenn Braggs, by the way, would have been a ground ball to short, but I just thought it was better to redo everything since it was a double whammy there. Let's just do a mulligan and get it going. So that's what we'll go with. All right, here's Glenn Braggs, and let me see. Braggs hitting 265 on the replay, or is it 285? My eyes are. It's 285 on the replay. He's hit 269 real world. It's a 4-5, and that's a line out to second base. So he's out either way you go. We just keep it as a line out instead of a fly out. That's the only difference. 2 down, and here's Greg Brock. Greg Brock, first baseman. He's hitting 338, 6 homers, 29 driven in. He hit 299 real world. Lefty on lefty. 4-5 is a pop out to second base, and that will end the inning. So 2 innings in the books. Charlie Lebrandt's got him 6 up and 6 down. And we go to the third, 1-0 favor of the Royals. And another sip of coffee is due while it's still warm. Got to do it while it's still warm, no question. All right, Kevin Seitzer will lead things off. 210, and that's a ballpark single check, 1-6, but that's a 20. So we're going to keep the original result since it doesn't change anything in the game. We're going to make it a ground ball to short instead of a line out to try to reduce those number of line outs. So Seitzer will ground it out to Swain rather than line out to him. Here's Tartable. 5-7, that's a strikeout for Wegman, and that is strikeout number 3. All right, here's Thad Bosley. Bosley struck out his first time. 5-10, fly ball to center. Easy play for Yount. 1-2-3, go the Royals. And we go to the bottom of the third. And it'll be B.J. Surhoff to lead it off. He'll be followed by Gantner and Swain, bottom of the order. Surhoff hitting 337 on the replay. 2 homers, 9 driven in. He hit 299 real world. 6-5, lefty matchup is a fly ball to left, and Bo Jackson will put it away. 1 down, and that'll send up Jim Gantner, another lefty. Royals have several left. They got 3 lefties in a row in the lineup, plus Cooper. So 4 out of the 5 are left-handed. You would think they would, overdo their lineup with right-handed hitters, but they didn't do it today in this game. So, hello, Kathy. Yes, you do need to. And Kathy, just because you might appreciate this, I don't know, but it's possible. But I did have some photographs for you that I took yesterday. Turn this light off. As I went out and fought the leaves from yesterday. I don't know how well this is going to show up on the computer. It's on my cell phone. Here is the before picture of the front yard that I was dealing with. You can see all the leaves from the porch all the way out to the road. It doesn't look big width-wise, but it's definitely deep. It's long. And you can see how well it's covered in. Everything's in leaves here. And then partially, that's when I got partially through later in the afternoon. You can see it's kind of clearing up a little bit. And then when I kind of got almost there, you can see what I'm dealing with here with this big pile of leaves and the trash can and rake. Those are my tools. That's all I have. I don't have anything fancy. And then finally, the final product, I actually ran out of bags. So some of the leaves I got stacked over to the left here, but everything else at least is cleared off up to the trees. Those 3 trees are kind of like the 3/4 point of the yard. So I got 3/4 of the front yard done yesterday. So I'm a little sore to say the least. I think that's probably why I overslept a little bit. Most likely. Wouldn't surprise me. So anyway, just thought you would, get a kick out of that. All right, here's Jim Gantner. And I'm, in that situation where my mind says I can do something, but my body says maybe not so fast. So here's Gantner. 291 average on the replay. No homers, 9 driven in. He hit 272 real world. Another lefty on lefty matchup. 3-9. 1 for a single, but that's going to be another line out. Second line out of the game. As he lines out to Frank White, 2 down. And, but yeah, my back was feeling it a little bit. Here's Dale Swain. So I spent a good part of the evening yesterday sitting in bed with a heating pad on my back. So, but I feel a little bit better now. The only problem today is it's supposed to rain this morning. Plus, I'm out of bags. I mean, I can do some more raking, but until I can go to the store, to the either Lowe's, Home Depot, or Walmart and get some more leaf bags, I'm out of bags. So I can't put them anywhere. That's the problem. I got nowhere to dispose them. So, all right. Here is Dale Swain. He is hitting .318, 10 homers, 29 driven in. He had 252 real world. But I am ahead of progress because when I was working full time, I used Thanksgiving week. I usually took Wednesday off and then did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that was my time to get the leaves up. So this time I'm gonna, that's the advantage of being retired, is I can do them in stages and not. I mean, I kind of overdid it yesterday because I knew the rain was coming today, so I kind of went overboard. Maybe did more than I'm supposed to do in one day. Usually I do a smaller section. Here's 1-9, and that's going to be a single for Dale Swain. 2-out single for Swain. He's no threat to run. Here comes Paul Molitor. And we do have a trivia question at the top of the fourth, so be ready for that. Havoc roll, nothing happening. Here's Molitor. 112, and that's a walk, so that will keep the inning going. First walk issued by Lee Brandt. First and second. 2 outs for Robin Yount. This is a clutch situation, and for Yount in the clutch against lefties, ironically, he is completely neutral. He has no change. Same with righties. He has no change on his card at all for clutch. So they rate him very average for the clutch. 4-6, and that's another walk. So back-to-back walks by Lee Brandt. And after getting the first 2 out, a single and 2 walks have loaded the bases for Cecil Cooper. Lefty on lefty matchup. Kind of interesting that they would have Cooper, a left-handed hitter, and not the best hitter on the team, hitting third. It's kind of a strange place to put him, but that's just where they have it. So bases are loaded, 2 outs. Cooper in the clutch does gain a hit on 1-6 and 2-12, and he also gets 2 hits on 3-3 and 3-5. So he's got 4 extra hits on his card thanks to the clutch. But we come off Lee Brandt's card, 6-10, ground ball third base X. This could be problems because Seitzer is a 4E26. And you never know when you get a 4 there, that can cause issues. 4-10, though, I think he'll get to that because he's not holding anybody on or anything. So 4-10 will be a G3, and that's good enough. That's a 10, and he is an E26. E26. There's a 10 right here. There aren't usually many errors that are 10s, but when you get this high error range, 10 shows up. So Kevin Seitzer boots it. The inning will continue, and the game is now tied. Thanks to the error by Kevin Seitzer is an E26, and that 10 is right there, 10 and 11 both. So it will be an E5 unearned run, but they still count, and we're tied at a run apiece. And as usual, the half inning before a Kathy trivia question, the dice bow up and decide to extend the inning. Make her trivia question go cold. Hello, Bruce. Good to see you. Yeah, leave or something, Here's Deere with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Deere in the clutch is not a deer in the headlights. He just has no rating. So 6-6, and that's going to be a 1-15 single. That's a 12. It'll be a single 1 star, and the Brew Crew take the lead. Scoring is Molitor. Everybody moves up 90 feet. Bases are still loaded. Both these runs, every run here is unearned from here on out because of the error. So now we switch it over to Glenn Braggs and see what he does in the clutch with the bases loaded. Bragg's in the clutch. Will lose a hit on 2-3. Everything else he's neutral. Lebrand trying to get out of the mess. That's a 1. Wild pitch chance on Lebrand is a 7. 19 is blocked. That's a 2-5, and that's a ground ball to third, and Seitzer this time is able to make the play, but 2 unearned runs come across the plate, and the Brew Crew lead it 2-1 after 3 complete from County Stadium. And now if you would turn your attention to the chat box, Kathy has the first trivia question to kind of get my mind going. Maybe that's probably a good thing to do, to maybe give that a little bit of a boost. All right, here we are. Who do you think played the most games in their career without ever going to a World Series? Appling, Banks, Carew, or Palmeiro? Wow, that's an interesting bunch of guys there. I know Banks and Carew both had long careers. I'm not sure about Appling. I don't know that much about Appling or Palmeiro, but that's anybody's guess. Mike's going to guess the Mr. Let's Play 2, Ernie Banks, same as Dr. D. I don't know if, I think Banks was relatively uninjured in his career. I don't know. He was before my time. Interesting question. Now, the thing with Carew or Palmeiro is they had the option of DHing, so they could hang around longer than Appling and Banks. I don't think it was Appling because shortstop's a demanding position. I don't think he played that many years to get there. I think it's either Carew or Palmeiro. Jeff says Carew. Hello, Bob. Good to see you. I'm sorry, Dan says Carew. I'm thinking either Carew. I think Carew might be it because I don't. Although Palmeiro had the steroids to help him, so who knows? But I just don't think it's Appling because I think you need the DH to let when you get older, you can play more games by DHing. But who knows? We'll see if Dan is correct with that guess or whether we need to keep guessing. If he's wrong, then we're down to a 50-50. It's almost like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You use a 50-50 and remove one of the choices. Or you can phone a friend or whatever. I forgot to turn this light back on, though, when I was showing the picture of the leaves. I forgot to bring the light back on. Forgot about that. Left everybody in the dark there. Oh, it's Palmeiro. Okay, I figured it was somebody that used the DH because they had to be there to get the extra chances to bat. So, and Palmeiro played a lot of years as a DH. So, good question there, Kathy. Thank you for that. More coffee, although I can tell it's already starting to get a little cooler. So, wow, 2,831 games. That's quite a bit. All right, here's Frank White to lead things off. The Royals trying to make up for those 2 runs they just gave up. 3-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to third. Milder will make the play. 1 away. 1 down, and that will send up Bo Jackson. Mr. Bo knows. That's a 3-9, and that's a 1-12. I'm sorry, 1-13 to double. That's a 3. It'll be a double for Bo. Bo Jackson, 1-out double. He is now the tying run. That was a 3-9, and a 1-13 was a double. Double dies a 3. And here comes bye-bye Balboni. Here is Balboni. 2-5 for Balboni's ground ball to third. Bo Jackson will stay right where he is. The good news, Kathy, on the leaf raking is I didn't have that many. There weren't as many pine cones to fight as I thought there were. Plenty of pine needles. Much more on the pine needles. I would say that makeup was probably about 70% leaves, about 20% pine needles, and maybe 10% pine cones. So that helped a little bit. But I don't have a riding mower to go around and scarf all this stuff up. I got to do old school. Basically, just rake them up with a rake, get them in a pile, take a big green trash bag, put it inside my outside trash can, and lay the thing flat, get down on my knees and just scrape or just push the leaves in to get it enough where the bag will stand up on its own, then just start bending down, picking up, putting on, picking up, putting on. So when I was doing it, I didn't feel too bad. It was after the effects that I started feeling it a little bit. All right, speaking of feeling it, here's Angel Salazar in the clutch, and he's feeling not too good about that because a 2.5, 2.9, and 2.10 are all outs for Angel Salazar. That's a 5.9, and that's a pop out to second base, and Mr. Gantner will field that, and Salazar in the clutch does not come through. We go to the bottom of the fourth. So I would have got the whole thing done. I had to leave that last little stack to the left because A, it was 5 o'clock and it was dark, and B, I was out of bags. But it was close enough to the porch light. I could have turned the porch light on and kept going had I had more bags, but I thought I had a whole nother sleeve of bags and I didn't. And so, to pardon the pun, I had to bag it the rest of the way and do it another day. Not supposed to be good weather tomorrow. It's supposed to be rainy just today and tomorrow. So, but next week's supposed to be really beautiful. So next week I've got a good chance to go out there and clean up everything out of there. All right, here's Greg Brock. He will lead it off against Lee Brandt. 3-4, and that's a pop up to first base. One away. Here is B.J. Surhoff. 6-11, and that's a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Bye-Bye Balbone's a 4.18. 4-18, though, he's going to get a break with that. 4-18 is actually going to be a G1. That's an 11, and he is an E18. E18, the 11, though, is going to get him. That's going to be an error on Bye-Bye Balboni. He boots it. He was looking to get it and flip the Lee Brandt, but instead he boots it. E3. And now 2 errors on the Royals in this ball game. First one was definitely costly for 2 runs. We'll see if this is going to be costly or not. Surhoff can get the lead with the because he has the little asterisk here, but he also gets caught 10 through 12, and the -1 from Lee Brandt. So they'll hold him on, but he won't go anywhere. And here is Jimmy Gantner, lefty. 6-3. It's a ground ball pitcher X. Charlie Lee Brandt is a 1 E24. Looking at Strat Computer, rates him as a 1. So he's a 1 E24. So possible double play coming up. But a 1 and a 1. Boy, the devil die just being mean today. 1 and a 1 is a G3. So they can only get to play it first, and that's if they don't make an error. Here's a 13. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the pitcher. The first base, I need the pitcher. Never mind. It's still a G3. So, and 13, and he is an E24 for a pitcher. And he got a break. 10, 11, 12, and 15 are errors, but a 13 is not. So he makes the play. His only play is to first base. Surhoff will take second base. So because of the evil devil die, unable to turn the double play. We'll see if that comes back to hurt him, because now we have a clutch situation with Dale Swain. And Swain against lefties, boy, that column 3 is loaded. That's a 1, so Lee Brandt could wild pitcher run in here, 1-7. He does not. It's blocked by Quirk. Second time Quirk's had to make a nice block. In the clutch, he will gain, of course, 3 hits here, 3-8, 3-11, and 2-8, 2-11, and 2-12. So column 3 and now column 2 becomes dangerous as well. But it's column 4 instead, 4-6, and that's going to be a walk for Lee Brandt. And for Lee Brandt, that is his 3rd walk. And now that moves it over to Molitor in a clutch situation. And Molitor will gain a hit of 1-4 in the clutch. It's a 1-7. That's a 1-5 double. 6-20 is a single. That's a single 2 stars. So that error again cost him another run. All 3 runs have been unearned. in this one. Lee Brandt getting let down by his defense. It is now 3-1 favor of Milwaukee. Milder now with a chance to get a steal or take the lead, I should say, 4, 5, or 6. And he gets a 6. He's gonna go. 19 being held as a 17. Lee Brandt's a -1 for a 16. T-rating on Quirk's only a 3. 1-16, and he's in there. Stolen base from Mahler. So now with Robin Yount coming up, runners are at second and third with 2 outs, and in the clutch for Robin Yount. Let's see here. He is neutral. We went over that once before that he was neutral. Another chance of a wild pitch on Lee Brandt, so 1-7. And this time he uncorks the wild pitch, and that's going to produce another run. The run will come in. I'm sorry, no, it's not a. Yeah, the run from first will come in, but Malter will only go to third. Okay. So the wild pitch gives him another run. Moves Malter to third base. It's now 4-1 Milwaukee. 4-12 for Yount. Lee Brandt is a fly ball right field X. We are looking at Tartable. But again, he's a 4-E7, so this 4 business could really get to him. 4-15, though, I think he'll catch a break with that. 4-15 is going to be an F2, but that's a 13, and Tartable's an E7. There is no 13, so Tartable does make the catch. But 2 more unearned runs come across the plate, and at the end of 4 innings, it is 4-1 Milwaukee. As Milwaukee looking to maintain that lead over the Yankees in Toronto. And now Kansas City's got their work cut out for them. Jamie Quirk will start it off. Quirk did single his first time up. That's a 2-6, and that's a fly to center, 1 away. And that brings up Willie Wilson, top of the order. Wilson's 0 for 2. That's a 5-8. Switch hitter batting left. 5-8 to pop up to first base. Rick Brock will haul it in. 2 up, 2 down, and that's going to send up Kevin Seitzer. 4-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Swain. He's a 3E25. 3 and a 9. Iffy, but probably still good. 3 and a 9. Yep, G3, that's okay. 13, and he is an E25 at short. E25 at the shortstop position. There's a 13 sitting right there. So E6 on Dale Swain. And that will keep the inning going. First error by the Brewers as Dale Swain boots it. Seitzer will be held, but won't go anywhere. And here's Tartable. $2-7 for Tartable, and that's a 1-5 double. That's a 12. Would be a single 2 stars. That'll put runners at the corners. So now to see if the error will come back to bite Milwaukee as well. 2 outs now with 2 on. Clutch situation for Thad Bosley. Bosley not as good in the clutch, obviously, as they show here. 1-5 and 1-9 are going to turn into outs. Same with 3-7. So not very good in the clutch is Mr. Bosley. 1-5. And again, he just hit that anti-clutch result. That single will turn into a pop out to second. That's the second anti-clutch that has cost the Royals a run. But when you play Super Advanced, you play the clutch, and that's what we're doing. So the Royals leave 2 on. The error does not come back to hurt them. We go to the bottom of the 5th. And it's still 4-1 Brew Crew. And Cecil Cooper stepping to the plate. 6-11 is a ground ball first base X. We're looking at bye-bye Balboni. He's already made 1 error. He's a 4-E18. 4-7, that may get by him. 4 and a 7. Nope, he gets to a G3 barely. That's a 14, and he is an E18. E18, there's a 14 right there, so it's a second error of the game on Bye-Bye Balboni. And that is the third error on the Kansas City Royals. This one with the leadoff batter. Here's Rob Deere. That's a 3-9 for Deere, and he struck him out. Not many strikeouts for Leibrandt. That is just his second of the game to go along with 3 walks. But he needed it, and here's Glenn Braggs. For 6, and that's another walk. Well, he didn't need that. That is his 4th walk. That's put runners at first and second with 1 out. Could really use a double play right about now. Greg Brock, your batter. He is a double play candidate. That's a 5-10, and that's a ballpark single check. 1 to 6, double dies a 4. So that will fall in for a base hit, and the bases are now loaded. And all started with the 1 base error on Balboni. So the bases are loaded with 1 out for B.J. Surhoff. Infield looking for that double play if they can get it. We get a 3-12, and that is a ballpark blast for Surhoff, and that's a 4. It is gone. A grand salami for B.J. Surhoff. Look at it again. 3-12, ballpark blast. County Stadium 1 to 5, double die says 4. It is gone. It is a grand salami. Grand salami for B.J. Surhoff. Just his 3rd home run of the replay. RBIs 10, 11, 12, and 13 are on the board. Since there's only 1 out, all these runs are earned except for the first one from Cooper. But the other 3 are earned. It is now 8-1 in favor of the Brew Crew. Leibrandt has given up 5 unearned runs, 3 earned runs. Leibrandt is now tired, but they want to try to get him through the inning if they can. Here's Gantner. That's a 5-4, lefty-lefty. That's a 1 to 5 triple. That's a 6, so it knocks it down to a single. And we wonder if Leibrandt could even make it through the inning. Here's Dale Swain. He singled and walked. Still only 1 out. Gantner not being held, of course. 5-11. Switch hitter batting right-handed is a ballpark blast. But this time the double die is a 19. So we'll keep it as a fly to left for out number 2. Leibrandt saying, where was that 19 when I needed it a couple rolls ago? But that'll bring up Paul Mahler now with Gantner at first and 2 away. 6-8, and that's a fly to center to end the inning. That's going to be it for Mr. Leibrandt. He's going to go 5 innings. And not fare too well. Grand salami from Mr. B.J. Surhoff, B.J. and the Bear. Or as Dan says, B.J.'s Warehouse. I didn't know if that was a national chain as well. Like, Costco or something like that, I think is a national chain. I didn't know if BJ's was or not. Got plenty of BJ's around here, though, so kind of competing with Costco, I guess. All right, so let's wrap this up and get the totals on Mr. Leibrandt, a lot of which were not his fault. 3 Brewer errors have really done him in. So the final totals on Mr. Leibrandt, he's going to go 5 innings, give up 6 hits, 8 runs, only 3 of them are earned, 4 walks and 2 strikeouts. So between the errors and the walks, 3 errors and 4 walks, that's 7 extra batters or 7 extra outs that Leibrandt had to get. So not just the 15, he had to get 22 outs basically in 5 innings. So kind of put him behind the 8 ball on that one. So we'll figure out who Kansas City's new pitcher is going to be probably somebody that just want to eat some innings. So we're probably looking at either Rick Anderson or Bud Black. I'll have to figure out who has the most rest, but they are the two long relievers, kind of the mop-up type guys. Hello, are you ready? Yes. That's very interesting. I think you said something about that yesterday at the end when I was previewing the game. I think you said that you went to high school with him. Very interesting. All right, here is Frank White. Royals have an uphill battle, 4-8. That's a good start. It's going to be a 2, so that's a double. Double dies a 2, so that's going to be a double for Frank White. Wegman's fatiguing. He does not start until the 7th, so he's okay in that area. But a leadoff double from Frank White, and here comes Bo Nose. .65 for Bo Nose, and that's a pop up to third base. One away. And here is Balboni. That's a 2-6 for Balboni. He's going to ground it to short. That will keep Frank White at second base. 2 down. And that'll send us to Angel Salazar. Still considered a clutch situation. And Salazar loses 3 hits. 2-5, 2-9, and 2-10. That's a 5-10, however, and that's a ballpark single check, 1-6, but that's an 11. So it's a ground ball back to Wegman, and that will end the inning. So Wegman has pitched really well. 6 innings pitched, only 1 run allowed, and he has scattered 7 hits. Plus, it helps to get a whole lot of run support. So we go to the bullpen for the Royals and see who it is that they might bring in. Rick Anderson's a little bit overworked. Let's see who else they might use here. Bud Black's a little bit overworked too. Don't really want to bring in Steve Farr. Rick Anderson. I don't think Rick Anderson is that overworked, so we're going to go ahead and bring him in. Rick Anderson. Get his card. He's not a very good pitcher, but when you're losing 8-1, that's when you bring in the not-so-good pitchers. One advantage Kansas City has is they're the visiting team, so they only have to cover 8 innings. They don't have to pitch that 9th inning. So Rick Anderson will be coming on, and he's a terrible with the hold, but with the score being 8-1, I don't see Milwaukee trying any stealing. In the real season, he was 0-2 with a 13.85 earned run average. He did have 2 starts. He also did relieving as well. Let's see here on the replay what he's done in replay mode. He is 0-0 with no saves, a 5.06 ERA, 5 innings pitched, 10 hits. So twice as many. So he's right on line because in the real season he pitched 13 innings, gave up 26 hits, so a 2-to-1 ratio. Same in the replay, 10 hits to 5 innings pitched. So he's following along the same kind of ratio, which is pretty decent. And here is Robin Yount. Start things off. 6-4. Ground ball shortstop X. We are looking at Salazar. He's a 2E16. 220, he'll get to that. E16 and an 8 shouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think. 16, yep, no problem there at all for Salazar. He makes the play, and Yount is retired. 1 away. Good start for Anderson. Yes, it is, Dan. They usually got to flip it over to get the stats, but the gentleman that made these for me printed them off in such a way that you could have the stats right there, which were nice. I wish I know how to do this. I would do it for all the computer games, seasons I have for the extra players, but I don't have that technology. Oh, we got a hop and dice. We're going to re-roll that. That D6 just flew the coop. 310. And speaking of coop, 3-10's a split chance. 1-3 is a single. That's a 14. So we get another line out. This one to second base. That's third line out. We had 2 anti-clutches and 3 lineouts on out results. And here's Rob Deere. It's a 4-6, and that's a 1-3 single. That's a 3. Double die comes up with a 3. So Rob Deere gets his second hit of the game. Almost had another line out, but not quite. And now here's Glenn Braggs. So the last couple innings, the Royals have been able to get the 2 outs, but then they couldn't get that third out until it cost them. We'll see what happens with Braggs. 3-3 for Braggs. He's hit by the pitch. So he gets plunked. Probably not too happy about it. But it does continue the inning. And now it's a clutch situation for Greg Brock. Brock in the clutch. Gains a hit on 1-2. And I think that's it. That's the only spot. So pretty much none effect there. 6-8, and that's a walk. That's going to load the bases. So how about that? Gets the first 2 guys out, then all of a sudden now we're loading the bases. And we'll pass the baton to B.J. Surhoff. He just hit a grand slam last inning. There's no way in hell I'm getting back-to-back grand slams in consecutive innings by the same player. I mean, that's just something that cannot happen, correct? I mean, that's just something that you just can't have it, right? I mean, that would just be ridiculous to do that. But Surhoff's going to get a chance, obviously. And in the clutch, he does gain hits on 1-8, 1-9, and 2-2. Surhoff got the grand slam against Leibrandt, the lefty. Now he's over here to the right-hand side. He actually has weak power, so he cannot get a grand slam off of his card. That's very weird. A lefty cannot. Oh, he can, though, if he hits a 210. That's the only way he can do it. He has to hit the clean as a baby's ass 210 to get a grand slam. That's the only way it happens, is on a 210 grand salami, because even on the ballpark result, he has weak power. So the only way he gets it is on a 210. That's a 2-5. Came close. That's a ground ball to third, and that will end the inning. And Anderson gets out of the mess. I don't think I could have handled a 210 right there. That would have been something. So Anderson did what Leibrandt couldn't do, and that was get out of a bases-loaded jam. But he did it. And now we go to the top of the 7th. This is the fatigue inning for Bill Wegman. And he'll be facing Quirk and then Wilson and Seitzer. As we move on to the top of the 7th, I will be taking a 7th inning stretch break to refresh the coffee. In fact, not just refresh, I'll probably just go ahead and get a whole new cup, because this is only my 2nd cup here. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody, I think there have been guys that have hit 2 grand slams in the same game, but I don't think they've occurred in back-to-back innings. I mean, that's something, that'd be really weird. Here's Quirk, 4-5, and that's a walk for Wegman. And that'll send up Willie Wilson. That's a 5-3, and that's a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Brock. He's a 3-E-10. They were not holding Quirk on, so he keeps his 3-E-10. 3-7. See what that brings. 3-7 is a G3. Had they been holding him on, that would have gotten through for a base hit, but they were not holding him on. He was playing back, so he was able to range and get it. That's a 6, and he's an E10. There is no 6, but he will make the play, and his only play will be to flip to Wegman covering with Quirk taking second base. But when you're leading 8-1, do you really care? As long as you get the outs. Oh, he hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's even weirder. I assume they were off different pitchers. I would assume they wouldn't have left the same pitcher in there to give both of those up. Here's Seitzer, 4-9, and that's a solid double off of Wegman there for Seitzer. RBI double, and the Royals get their second run on the board. Wegman's almost at the point of fatigue now due to that. It is 8-2, and we bring up Danny Tartable. Brewer bullpen starting to stir just a tiny bit down there, but right now still a 6-run lead, so no panic yet. 5-8, and as a line out to third base, there's a dot there, but he has not yet reached fatigue, so the line out will hold for second out. And that'll send up Thad Bosley. $110 for Bosley is a split chance. 1-4 is a single. That's a 6, yet another line out. And that will end the inning. So we have had 5 lineouts so far. That's not too bad, I don't guess. I guess it's not too over the top. 5 lineouts and 2 anti-clutch plays. So we go to the 7th inning stretch. And get a chance to refresh my coffee as well. All right, Mike, you're saying Chan-Ho Park was in the game long enough to give up both grand slams? That's kind of weird. I think they would have taken him out. Huh, that's interesting. 2 grand slams in the same inning off the same pitcher. That's really, really something. Wow. All right, so we have the 7th inning stretch. I need to refresh my coffee. And let's see if I can, I may have to bring this up just a hair so that I can fit the cards on here a little bit better. Give me a little wider berth here, maybe. Try that. Okay, so we are going to the 7th inning stretch. With the score still, Milwaukee 8. I'm sorry, I put a 0 there and it should have been a 1. I was so used to putting zeros there, I forgot the run scored. So let me fix that. It's actually 8-2. Don't want to shortchange Kansas City a run. It is 8-2 as we head to the 7th inning stretch. And it's time for me to stretch around, move around a bit, refresh my coffee, or either pour a whole new brand. I'll probably just pour. There's not much left in this cup. I'll probably just pour this little drizzle out and do a whole fresh cup. That'll save me from having to microwave anything. And we'll be back for the bottom of the 7th with the score. Milwaukee 8 and Kansas City 2. All right, we are back. And we are back with refreshed coffee. That was a big thing. And as Jeff would say, that's good coffee, even the second time around. So we're ready to start the bottom of the seventh. Rick Anderson back up for his second inning of work. We're facing Gantner, Swain, and Molitor. That's a 2-10, and that's a fly to center field. One away. On that fly to center, here's Dale Swain. 3-4 for Swain, and that is a ballpark blast. 1-5, but that's an 11, so just a fly to right. And Anderson keeps his luck intact. And that brings up Molitor now with 2 outs and the bases clear. .311, another ballpark blast. 5, that's a 9. So again, Anderson living right. Gets the double die to cooperate twice. So we go to the 8th, still 8-2 ball game in favor of the Brew Crew. Wegman has a tiny bit of fatigue or energy still left in him, so they'll let him stay out there, although the bullpen is active. And we'll take a look and see who is the most rested of their bullpen. It might be Chuck Krim, but I'll double. No, Chuck Krim is tired, so I'm not going to use him. Let's see here. Actually, it's Chris Basio. So Chris Basio is loosing in the bullpen. He is the most rested. In fact, you know what? They're going to go ahead and say, screw it. They're going to bring in Chris Basio now. They want to start him with a clean inning. So they will go ahead and give Wegman the rest of the game off, and we'll get the numbers on Wegman. And they will turn it over to Chris Basio. Chris Basio in the regular season was 11-8 with a 5.24 ERA and 2 saves. On the replay, he is 1-0 with 2 saves and a 5.76 earned run average. So not that much difference. Pretty much pitching the way you would expect Chris Basio to be pitching at this point. +1 hold, but I don't know that Kansas City is going to run much. Down 8-2. Hey, Joel. Good to see you. So, got a frog in my throat. I need more coffee, I guess. Let's get the final numbers on Mr. Wegman, who's definitely in line to get that 5th win of the season. He went 7 innings, scattered 8 hits, gave up 2 runs. They were earned. Walked 1, struck out 3. So, we now go to the top of the 8th. It'll be Frank White. And I know it's got to be regional around here, but I remember growing up in the South. And he may have syndicated it across the country. I don't know. But there used to be a guy called the Southern Sportsman, and his name was Frank White. And he would go out and do a hunting and fishing show every Saturday morning. But probably was something regional here. I doubt it was national. But I remember the Southern Sportsman was Frank White. You can Google it. And that is some good coffee. All right. Top of the 8th, 8-2 ball game. Basio to White. 1-2. And that's look at this, Jeff, if you're still around. If you're still with us. 1-2 is a clean as a baby's ass home run for Frank White. He greets Chris Basio rather rudely. And home run, Frank White. Clean as a baby's ass, 1-2. No question about it. Home run number 5 for Frank White on the replay. Cuts the lead to 8-3. And he had 17 homers on the real season. This is home run number 5, RBI number 16. Cuts the lead to 8-3, but a big difference, a solo home run versus a grand slam. Definitely a different impact. Here's Bo Jackson. That's a 4-9, and that's a strikeout. So Basio does come back and strike out Bo for 1 away. And that's going to take us to Balboni, Mr. Bye-Bye. 6-7 for Basio is a ground ball second base X, so we're looking at Gantner. It's a 2E14 is Mr. Gantner. 2E14. 2 and a 13 is good, I would think. 2 and a 13, G1, no problem. That's a 13, and Gantner is a 14. 14, there's no 13 there, so Gantner does make the play for out number 2. Two down for Angel Salazar. Two, 3 for Salazar is a line out to short, and yet another line out. But the home run from Frank White makes it an 8-3 ball game. And I believe Anderson's going to stay out there and try to save the bullpen for the rest of the series and see if he can't get this third inning. He had a 1-2-3 third inning or 7th inning because he was living right with the double die. But we'll see what happens here. All right, something didn't go right on my computer, so let me figure out what I didn't do. I may not have given the home run. And I didn't. I didn't do the home run correctly. So let me go back. The undo button is a wonderful feature. No question about it. So we go back to Frank White. I had him striking out, so I didn't put the home run in the computer. That was the problem. It was Bo Jackson who struck out. And then a ground out to second and a line out to short, and we're back in business. All right. Robbing you out. That's a 6-6 for Yount against Anderson. That's a solid double to left field for Robin Yount. Brew Crew keeps hitting. That's hit number 8 only for the Brew Crew, but they've had a lot of walks and errors that they've been gifted with. So here's Cecil Cooper. Cooper, 4-7, and that's going to be a single to left field. With nobody out and Bo Jackson -2 arm, they will hold Yount at third base. So runners are at the corners now with nobody out. And now you wonder, do the Royals even bother bringing another relief pitcher? You really don't want to waste one of your better relievers when you're down 8-3, though. So they're going to see if Anderson can get it going. Infield is back. They need outs. They don't care about the one run. One run is, you're already down 5. What's one extra run? 2-7, and that's a 1-16 single for Rob Deere, and that's a 14, so it gets a base hit. That will score the run. It is now 9-3. Favor the Brew Crew. And now Anderson has reached fatigue. You'll let him keep going to Braggs. They do have Jerry Don Gleaton loosely in the bullpen finally, and he'll come on to face these lefties. So this is the last batter that Anderson's going to face right here, Glenn Braggs. He had a 1-7, and he struck him out. So nice way to end it there for Anderson. But they're going to finally have to bring him out, and they'll bring in Jerry Don Gleaton. So Jerry Don Gleaton will come on for the Kansas City Royals. He was a 4-4 with a 4.26 ERA real world. We'll also get the numbers. Well, I can't do Anderson yet because the runner on base is his. Those 2 runners are still his responsibility. So we bring on Jerry Don Gleaton. He's certainly not overworked. On the replay, he's 0-1 with no saves and a 4.32 ERA. Just 8 innings pitched, 9 hits, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. So here is Greg Brock with 1 out and runners at first and second. 1 run already in. Gleaton to Brock. 5-4. That's a fly to center field. Out number 2. So just for pride purposes, Kansas City doesn't want to see Milwaukee get that double digit on the scoreboard. They want to keep them at 9, not let them get 10. Here's Surhoff. He had that grand slam that pretty much put it away. 4-9, and he's going to fly to right field to end the inning. So Gleaton pitches 2/3 of an inning not very stressful and gets out of the jam. That means Anderson's going to go 2 1/3. And we'll get the numbers on Anderson as well. So a run for the Royals makes it a 9-3 ball game as we go to the top of the ninth. Basio will look to mop things up, so to speak, against Seitzer, Tartable, and Bosley. Let's get the numbers on Rick Anderson's outing from the Strat computer. He goes 2 1/3 innings, 4 hits, and a run, which was earned. Walked 1, struck out 1. So 9 runs, 10 hits for the Brewers in this game. Royals stand at 3 runs and 9 hits. So here's Seitzer to the lead. Not Seitzer. What is Seitzer doing up there? He got out of turn here. It should be Quirk, Wilson, and then Seitzer. Somehow he got out of line. Don't know how that happened. It's actually Quirk leading off. 3-8 for Quirk, and that's a leadoff walk. So a leadoff walk from Basio to Quirk brings up Willie Wilson. Of course, we'll score 9-3. They're not holding anybody on. 2-3 for Wilson. That's a hit by pitch. And I don't know if that was in response to Glenn Braggs being hit. Don't think it was, but you never know in a 9-3 game. And that's a game you can afford to hit somebody. It won't hurt you very much in the run column. But don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Kevin Seitzer. Don't think there was any shenanigans going on, though. Basio to Seitzer, 5-11. That's a ballpark single check. That's a 10, though, so we get yet another line out. I believe that's line out number 6, if I'm not mistaken. Might be 7. That's the 7th line out. So we have 4 here and 3 here. So we got our 7 lineouts going on. 7 lineouts in the game. Seems excessive to me, but what do I? And I've actually taken a couple of those lineouts. We would have had, if I'd have gone strictly by the rules, we would have had about 9 lineouts. But I did alter a couple of results to make it something different. Here's Tartable. It's a 1-2 for Tartable, and that's another lineout with an injury chance. But it's going to be a low max, and it's going to end the ball game on a double play. So appropriate way to end it there. A 1-2 with a low max to third base. So he's going to line it to third, and they are going to get Quirk at second base, 5-4 on the double play line out to end the ball game. 8 lineouts in total is what we ended up with. So there is your ball game, 9-3 in favor of the Milwaukee Brewers, and they take a 1-game lead in the AL East. They now have a 1-game advantage, and Kansas City has pulled closer to Oakland A's in the West. 3 runs, 9 hits, and 3 errors for Kansas City. 9 runs, 10 hits, and an error for Milwaukee. Winning pitcher was Wegman. He goes to 5-1. Basio is going to go 2 innings, give up a hit and a run, which was the home run by White, and 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And the losing pitcher, Charlie Leibrandt, drops to 2-5. So looking at the standings now after this one, of course, player of the game, could give it to Wegman, but I'm giving it to B.J. Surhoff. His grand slam pretty much put the game away. It was a 4-1 game, still in doubt, but B.J. Surhoff's grand slam took care of that. And as we look at the standings now, as we completed the May 1st date in the American League, the Brewers now lead Toronto by 1 game, and they lead the Yankees by 1 game. Brewers are now 31-15. The Toronto Blue Jays are 31-17, and the Yankees are 32-18. Kansas City, by virtue of their win, pulls within 2 games of Oakland A's. They are now 24-23 due to their loss, I should say, not their win. 24-23. So they drop out of a second place tie with the White Sox, who are a game and a half back. So there are 2 games behind the first place Oakland A's. So I was going to do a doubleheader this morning, but I really wasn't up to it. So tomorrow we will have the National League game, the scheduled National League game. And it will be from Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. It'll be the Pittsburgh Pirates against the Atlanta Braves. That'll be tomorrow. I'm aiming for something around 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's my goal, somewhere in that neighborhood, 11:15, something in that general time frame. But that way you get to see the pitchers hit and everything else. But we do put a wrap up here on the June 1st American League date. And now what I typically do on Fridays is start making my score sheets for next week. So as you look at the next game on the schedule, June 2nd. So there is one game that is off on June the 2nd. Detroit and Cleveland, for whatever reason, don't play. I don't know if they were rained out or what. Blaine, I'm not sure about the demo league because I'm quite honestly, I'm not. I don't know. I've gotten kind of a funk on the demo league because of the modern baseball. So I'm thinking about redoing that with some other league, and maybe another game. Maybe I'm thinking I need to branch out from Strat and pick something else, but I don't know. It's not totally dead. It's just I'm in a place right now where I'm not sure what I want to do with it. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm not sure. I'll keep you posted. And it won't be tonight because I got high school football playoff game to go to tonight. But tomorrow morning we'll have the Pirates and the Braves. Jim Leland's Pirates against Chuck Tanner's Braves. And that'll be tomorrow's game in the National League on June the 1st. June the 2nd, like I said, Detroit and Cleveland do not play. So we have 6 games instead of 7 to play, which means we're looking at one doubleheader. So either that or I'm going to play one game offline, one or the other. First game is most likely to be Oakland and Baltimore. Pretty good pitching matchup, Dave Stewart against Mike Boddicker. That will be Monday morning. Tuesday, we're looking at Yankee Stadium. It's going to be the California Angels and the New York Yankees. It's Willie Frazier against Rick Rhoden in that pitching matchup. Third game will feature Seattle and Toronto. And it'll be Mike Moore against Jim Clancy. That will be on Wednesday. On Thursday, we are looking at Minnesota at Boston. Juan Berenguer against John Leister, whoever he is, for the Red Sox. And on Friday, we are looking at the White Sox and the Rangers. Bill Long against Charlie Huff from Texas. That leaves Kansas City and Milwaukee. I'll need to put that in as a doubleheader on one of those days, depending on what day looks better. And that's going to be Bud Black against Chuck Krim. So it's a good thing I didn't use Chuck Krim in relief because he's going to start. He gets a rare start, a spot start in the next game for Milwaukee. So we'll figure it out. That's the plan going forward at the moment. Like I said, with the demo league, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that right now. That's on a very short break. So I'm really not sure. I don't have a definitive answer, unfortunately, on that. I got a feeling that most people, I don't know, I just feel like people like this replay a whole lot better than that one. And like I said, I am thinking about possibly reimagining that to another game other than Strat to give me some variety, because I think, sometimes you play too much Strat, that's all you play, get a little stale. So probably nice to put another game out there, whether that's inside pitch, payoff pitch, whatever. But we'll figure it out at some point. I haven't totally abandoned it, but it's just on a short little hiatus right now, for lack of a better term. All right, so Chuck Krim. Chuck Krim will get the start for Milwaukee, so I want to make sure I put him up front so I know that he's the starting pitcher going forward. Brew Crew gets the win over the Royals. So we will take care of that because I've already used the backside. That was from yesterday when Detroit beat Cleveland. And if you're wondering what I'm doing with all these score sheets, well, right now what I'm doing with them, as I finish both sides of the score sheet, I put them in this little, I have this little accordion type folder here that I put them into. Don't know how well it shows up. Let me get this thing out of the way. Don't know how well it shows up on the video here, but they're all in here. I can go all the way back to the very first one when I was using different score sheets before I got this score sheet, and you can see how far I went back. So that's what I've got. That's where I keep the score sheets. Now, eventually, once we get further in the season, I'm going to run out of room because there'll be so many score sheets that I won't be able to hold them all. But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But right now, it's I don't know. Vintage is a kind word for it. It's old and nasty is what I would call it. But anyway, one of the old folders. They were I think I got it from work back in the day when they were emptying out a lot of old filing cabinets and throwing stuff away because we're going from, when I first started, everything, you had to have a paper copy of everything. So everything had to be paper copies, and there were folders of paper copies and all that stuff. And then in the last few years, they did what they call going green, which everything had to be electronic, and it was called going green, I guess, to save the planet or whatever the hell they were doing. But yeah, how that's working? How is that working for you now with the climate change? But I'm not getting political, so yeah, that's where I came from. So I'm not sure, to answer your question specifically about the Demolition League, because I'm not sure what direction I want to go with it yet. If I want to continue the one I've got, or whether I want to move on to maybe try something, a different style or a different set of teams or whatever, different, different stuff. And boy, I just pulled this out from my old Stratomatic box, or my new Stratomatic box. That's a thing of beauty right there. That is a nice thing of that bright, brand new, crisp board that I never use now because, of course, we're doing Super Advanced now. But it's just nice to see some of the game parts that are like in pristine condition from when I bought this last year. So, and this is where I keep my 1976 cards. So let's look at, make sure I've got my stuff ready to go for this for Saturday. Make sure I've got everything where I need it. Do I have the picture? I don't have the picture hitting cards pulled out yet. That's the problem. Rick Russell, and I love these. I love these old picture hitting cards. And these are cards I will put rubber bands around because I don't care about these. Let's see. Rick Russell used picture hitting card number 2. Thought he usually was a better hitter than that, but he will use picture hitting card number 2 for Rick Russell. And Rick Mailer, what does he use? Rick Mailer. Where are you, Rick Mailer? There you are. He uses picture hitting card number 3. So let me get picture hitting card number 3 out. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Picture hitting card number 3 for Rick Mailer. I don't know. Do you guys feel like watching another game if I want to play this Pittsburgh game now and not have to play it on Saturday? I'm kind of getting a hankering to play. Keep going since I have no yard work to do. All right, I'm going to keep going then. Hey, Math Fun and Games. Good to see you. All right, so let me first of all put away the Brewers and the Royals. I have two game boxes, two Strat game boxes here. This game box holds the 1987 season, and you can see I have future score sheets I have not filled out. I printed them, but I haven't filled them out yet. So I usually do that over the weekend to get ready for next week. So that's the first Strat box I have. The second Strat box I have is specifically to hold the new game parts and the 1976 season that I bought. So that has that, and it has all the good stuff there. Plus, that's where I keep the pitcher hitting cards. So that's the second game. That's the newest game box I have. I'm not sure what Stratomatic, what their season will be in February that they release, whether it's 79, 78, 83. There's a couple of them people are speculating about. So I'm not sure which one they're going to be using. But thinking about buying that. And if I do, then I'd probably get another game box just to have it. If you're going to pay all that much for shipping, you might as well get as much for your bang for your buck as you can get. All right, so let's look at what we've got going on here. We got Rick Russell on the mound. He will later get traded to San Francisco, but right now it's with Pittsburgh. And we're going to have Rick Mailer, Rick Junk Mailer, I guess they call him. Well, they used to call him Rick Mailer. Whoops, wrong card there. And we're going to have Hubbard. Use this pitch hitting card number 3. All right, so at least those guys are out of the way. Let's see here. Let's get Atlanta's guys over here. Oops. Just a quick little transition, that's all. We'll need to bring it up on the Strat computer as well. So we have Chuck Tanner's Atlanta Braves, I won't say Milwaukee Braves. Atlanta Braves against Pittsburgh Pirates. So it's Rick Russell against Rick Mailer, a couple of Ricks going at it. So let me get everything back in place. Check the, see how it's looking here on the, oh, it's definitely crooked, isn't it? So let's fix that. See if I can get that a little bit straighter. Possibly. Maybe. We'll see here. Let's pull it up. See how it's looking. Oh, it's definitely still showing crooked here. So maybe like that. Maybe that's the best way to do it right there. All right. So we will continue. I do need to go to the Strat computer and bring up the 1987 National League and get this game ready to go so I can score it as we play it. I'll let the Strat computer sim everything else, but the game of the day I pick, I actually play it and score it in the Strat computer. I've gotten the part now, if I don't have the Strat computer up scoring the game with me, it kind of, I get out of sorts. So I tried it the other time not having to score the Strat computer, and it was just something that, yeah, Dr. D, they definitely aren't going anywhere. I found that out myself. They got to go eventually go somewhere, but right now they're not going anywhere. And before we start the game, we always have to have, even on a doubleheader, we have to have the ceremonial first sip. So since I am not, since I'm playing this now, there will not be a game Saturday morning. I may do a demolition game Saturday night. That's possible. See how I'm feeling. If the weather's nice, I'll be out more raking more leaves. We'll have to wait and see if the rain, pushes through. But I don't really want to do real wet leaves either because they get heavy. So Anyway, enough of that. Rick Mailer is your pitcher. One thing I don't have is the printout of the National League ballpark effects. So I'm using the Strat computer, and the Strat computer is telling me that singles are 1 to 12 and home runs are 1 to 15 for both lefties and righties. That's what the Strat computer is telling me. So that's what we're going to use as ballpark effects. And leading off will be Mr. Barry Bonds. On the simulation, Pirates are 22 and 24, Braves are 18 and 31. And this game was actually played, was this June 2nd or June 1st? This is June 1st. I don't know why I have June 2nd written here. That's kind of weird. Should be June the 1st, not June the 2nd. Or am I off on a day? I don't think I'm off on a day. Let me double check the box score and make sure it shows June 1st. I don't want to be out of sorts here. It is June 2nd. What the heck happened to June the 1st? Did I miss a game on June the 1st? Hold on. Let me check something here. Maybe I should have played. This game should be played on June the 2nd, not the 1st. Let me go back to the National League and see what I had picked up for June the 1st. I got ahead of myself on the calendar here. June the 1st. Oh, it's supposed to actually be the Mets and the Dodgers. That's what I should be playing. So we're going to hold this game until tomorrow, until next week. Apologies for that. I need to set up the other game, the Mets and the Dodgers. That's what I really needed to do, because that's the June 1st game I wanted to play with the Fernando Valenzuela. So these lineups and everything are good for June the 2nd, not June the 1st. Almost got ahead of myself here. So a little bit slight delay while we fix things here. That's what I get for trying to go off the cuff and do a doubleheader and not getting myself straight. So, but at least we know what's happening next week. We know what game we're going to have. We're going to have Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Should be New York and Los Angeles. Now, I did notice that I accidentally wrote St. Louis in the thing here, so I need to fix that. And this is June the 1st, so I did get ahead of myself there. I did get ahead of myself. I thought something wasn't right about that. It's going to be New York and Los Angeles. So let me get those teams out. Quick little correction stuff here, so bear with me while we get that going on here. Dodgers and the Mets. Dodgers and Mets. See who the pitching matchup was. Fernando Valenzuela against Terry Leach. I've already got the lineups all done. I just don't have the ratings in there. So if you enjoy this, as Jeffrey Guterman says, the Strat Zen, you can watch me put the ratings in. So, and I will adjust the thumbnail to show a doubleheader. Terry Leach uses pitch rating card number 1. So he's going to be using that for him. It is Terry Leach for the Mets. And Fernando Mania for the Dodgers gets the start. And Fernando uses pitch rating card number 2. I thought he's a better hitter than that. Traditionally, he usually was, but maybe in 87 he wasn't. So just a quick little correction here. What did I do with my... There we go. Okay. That and that. Okay. Make sure I get all my bench and bullpen guys straight. Okay. So he uses pitch rating card number 1. I have to put pitch rating card number 3 away and grab out pitch rating card number 1. From somewhere. All right, so we're just going to use pitch rating card number 1 for Valenzuela and for Leach. I'm sorry, number 2 for Valenzuela and 1 for Leach. So let's do a flip-flop there. And let's put in the ratings. Why don't we? Oh, Jeff, you're still here. Okay. Strat Zen, as you say. So first things first, Mookie Wilson. He is a 3 plus 2 E16 with a 17. And Tim Tuffle is a 4 E22 and a 12. Keith Hernandez, who should be in the Hall of Fame, is an E1 E11 with an 11. McReynolds, 2 minus 1 E4 with a 14. Strawberry, a 2 minus 2 E9 with a 17. Gary Carter, his T rating is a 7. He's a 2-0 E1, running at a 9. Howard Johnson, Hojo, 4 E27, not a very good fielder. Rafael Santana, a 3 E22 with a 12. And Terry Leach is an E22. I don't know what his range is. The computer will have to tell me that. So that takes care of the Mets. Now we'll look at the Dodgers. Steve Sachs, 4 E16 with a 17. John Shelby, who used to be with the Orioles, of course, was traded for Niedenfuer. So 2 E11 with a -3 arm in center field. Pedro Guerrero, not a very good outfielder, 4 plus 2 E8 with a 13. Mike Marshall is a 3 minus 2 E3 with a 12. Franklin Stubbs, 4 E9 and a 12. Mickey Hatcher, 4 E37 with an 11. Trevino, the catcher, his T rating's a 4. He's a 4-0 E10, running at an 11. Dave Anderson, a 4 E17. Look at all those fours on the Dodgers. That's why they didn't have a very good year. Their fielding was horrible. And Fernando Valenzuela has an E rating of 23. And look at the computer and see what his range rating was. And then we get this game going. Fernando, range-wise, is a 1. They gave him a 1. Okay, 1 E23. Look at Trevino, and we'll get the pass ball rating on Trevino is a 2. And we need to go to Fernando on the computer and get his wild pitch and balk ratings. So Fernando, his wild pitch and balk rating, he has an 11 wild pitch and a 2 balk. He is a 0 hold. Trevino is a 0 hold, so he's a 0. Go to the Mets and see what they've got for their pass ball ratings for Gary Carter. Gary Carter's pass ball rating is a 2. Terry Leach. Leach's pass ball, and let's see, 0 walk and 0 wild pitch and 3 balk. His hold rating is a +1. Carter's a 0, so he is a +1 hold. Okay. Leach on the replay checks in at 2 and 1. And Fernando checks in at 4 and 5. Ballpark effects for Dodger Stadium, per the Strat computer. Singles are 1 to 9. Home runs are 1 to 3, both lefties and righties. So not going to get many home runs via Dodger Stadium, that's for sure. So with all those preliminaries out of the way, hopefully that wasn't too taxing or boring for you. Got those out of the way, and we're ready to go. Second game of the doubleheader, where we have pitchers hitting. That's even more exciting than anything else that's having the pitchers hitting. So, see what we can do with that. Fernando Valenzuela against Mookie Wilson. And of course, before the game begins and the first pitch can be made, we have to have the proverbial first sip. Ceremonial first sip. And there we have it, the ceremonial first sip. So Mookie Wilson will lead it off against Fernando. 6-6, that's a strikeout. So Valenzuela strikes out Mookie Wilson to start the ball game. One away for Tim Teufel. And of course, with the lefty Valenzuela on the mound, that means we get Lenny Dykstra and Wally Backman both on the bench. Teufel 4-2 for Valenzuela. That's a walk. So he's got a strikeout and a walk for the first two batters. Teufel no threat to run. Here's Keith Hernandez. 3-8 for Fernandez, and that's a single to left field. Teufel will stop at second base, first and second, one out for left fielder Kevin McReynolds. .110, and that's a single to left field. There's an anti-clutch, but we're not at 2 outs, so the single's going to stand. Guerrero in left field's a +2 arm, so Teufel may try to score here. He is a 12. Not being held makes him a 13. 2 outs makes him a 15. The +2 makes him a 17. They're going to throw the plate. Keith Hernandez is only an 11, so he will not take third on the overthrow. He will have to hold. But it is going to be a throw home to the plate. And once again, it's a 1-12, 1-13 for not being held. 2 outs is a 1-15, but then the +2 is a 1-17. So 1-17, he scores. And he does. So RBI single. I'm sorry, there were not 2 outs. There was only 1 out. So it would have been a 1-15, but I was counting 2 outs when there weren't 2 outs. But the 3 takes care of that anyway. So 1-0 Mets. Hernandez will stop at second base. And here comes the straw man, Darryl Strawberry. Or 9, lefty, struck him out. So Fernando Valenzuela gets strikeout number 2. And now it's a clutch situation for Gary Carter. In the clutch, he will gain a hit on 1-4. Everywhere else, he's neutral. Fernando trying to get out of this with just 1 run. 5-9. He's not going to do it. That's a 1 for a triple. Anything else is a single. Single 2 stars. It's an RBI single from Gary Carter as Keith Hernandez will score. And McReynolds will motor over to third. 2-0 Mets here in the top of the first. Fernando having a rough time of it. Here's Howard Johnson. Also a clutch situation for Johnson. Look at his column 1 against lefties. Look at those home runs. He's also got ballpark blast here, but that's not going to help him at Dodger Stadium. In the clutch, though, 2-2, he gains a hit. Also on 3-11. Fernando trying to get out of the mess. 1-5, and that's a walk. Boy, he just missed a home run. 1-5 is going to be a walk that loads the bases. Second walk for Fernando. He has had quite the outing here. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 runs, and 2 hits. So a little bit of 2 of everything. Everything is in 2s in this inning, if you're a numerologist. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 hits, and 2 runs. And Rafael Santana in the clutch, number 8 hitter. He loses a hit on 3-7. Everywhere else, he's neutral. 1-10 is a pop up to third, so they're going to leave him loaded. But they do put 2 across the board. And at the end of a half inning to play, it's the Mets 2 and the Dodgers coming to bat. Terry Leach, right-hander, will start things off against Steve Sachs. As the Dodgers try to come back from those 2 runs and get some runs back. 6-5, and that is a 1-14 double. That is a 14. So Steve Sachs cracks a leadoff double to start things off for the Dodgers. Brings up John T-Bone Shelby. That's a 2. Chance for a balk or pass ball. His balk rating's a 3. Pass ball on Carter's a 2. So not likely to happen on any of that. It is a balk check, 1 to 3. No balk. So here's Shelby. 1-5 for Shelby is a ballpark blast, but again, 1 to 3. That's an 11. So Shelby finding that Dodger Stadium is not as friendly for home runs as Memorial Stadium in Baltimore was. So he flies out, 1 away. For Pedro Guerrero. .111 for Guerrero, and that's a ballpark single check. 5, he gets the single. It's only 1 star, but it keeps things rolling for the Dodgers and puts runners at the corners with only 1 out. Guerrero will have to be held because he has the asterisk there, but I don't believe he's going to try to obtain a lead or anything like that. Not with the heart of the order coming up. Here's Mike Marshall. Infield for the Mets, playing back for a double play. That's a 3-9, and that is a double play right there. Tailor-made, 3-6-4-3. Giovanni's Tailor Shop sponsoring this tailor-made double play. 3-9 is a 6-4-3 double play. And the Dodgers come away empty-handed. And the Tommy Lasorda's over there saying, Marshall, what's going on with you? So we go to the second inning. Hello, Jimmy Jam. Good, you could join us for game 2 with a doubleheader. Fernando back out. He'll be facing Terry Leach to start the inning. Leach is using pitcher hitting card number 1. But runner Fernando, 6'8". He is a right-handed hitter. 1 to 8's a single. That's a 14, so we get our first line out of the game. 1 away. Back to the top of the order for Mookie Wilson. .17, and that's a 1 to 10 double. That's an 11, so we get a fly out to left field. And that's 2 away. Quickly 2 up and 2 down to start the inning. For Fernando, much better start than his first. Here's Tim Tuffle. All right, Jimmy Jam, why don't you do that at the end of this half inning before we start the bottom of the second? 3-8, and that's going to be a walk. Second walk Tuffle has received. Third walk by Fernando. Tuffle will not go anywhere, will not be held. Here's Keith Hernandez. 1-8 for Hernandez. A 1 to 7's a home run. That's a 3. It's gone. Keith Hernandez, a 2-run home run. Look at it again. 1-8 against lefties. It's a 1 to 7 homer. That's a 3. It's gone. A 2-run home run off the bat of Keith Hernandez, and the Mets take a 4-0 lead. So after the first 2 are out, all of a sudden, stuff starts happening. And Jimmy, not to blame you, but anytime, usually it's Kathy that comes up with this, is anytime a trivia question is announced, the Strat God said, well, we're not going to get to it right away because we're going to have some runs. It was 2 outs, bases empty. When you announce trivia, all of a sudden they get 2 runs. Like I said, it's not against you because it happens to Kathy as well. Here's McReynolds, 6-6, and that's a strikeout to finally end the inning. Third strikeout for Fernando, but another 2 spot for the Mets. And now we go to the bottom of the second. And if Jimmy, if you want to go ahead and fire away that trivia, go for it. And we'll see if we can figure it out. But it's 4-0 Mets as we go to the bottom of the second. All right, you want to name the pitcher, batter, and the outfielder on the Pete Rose collision play? I have no idea. Could not tell you. All I remember is the collision at the plate. I don't remember seeing anything else going on with that. But if anybody else wants to take a shot at it, feel free. but I'm drawing a total blank on that. Only thing I remember are the highlights of the actual collision, so I don't remember who was at the plate. I certainly don't remember who the outfielder was that threw the ball in, because I didn't remember seeing the whole play. I just remember seeing the actual collision. So people can mull over that and try to make a guess if they like. We'll keep going here in the bottom of the second for Franklin Stubbs. 5-7 is a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Tuffle. He's a 4E22. 4E22, 4-16. 4-16 should be fine. It's G2, that's a 12, and Tuffle is an E22. There's a 12 right there, so Tuffle just booted it. The 22 with a 12, so that's going to be an E4 on Tim Tuffle. E4 on Mr. Tuffle. Joel says Yaz was in center field. And Jeffrey, I don't recall off the top of my head what arcane means. I'll have to Google that. Put that in my data bank is for increasing my vocabulary. Here's Hatcher, 4-6, and that's a fly to right field, one away. One down, and here's Trevino. That's a 1, so wild pitch, no wild pitch for Leach, no worries there. Trevino, 3-11, that's a fly ball right field plus an injury check. So it could be that Trevino has to leave the game, and Fernando would get a new battery mate. We'll check on the injury for Trevino. Roll a 1 to 4, he can stay in the game. Anything 5 or higher, he's got to come out. He's got to come out. Mysterious, not well known. Okay, there we go. See, I learned something new. So Trevino has to leave. And so the backup catcher, I don't even know who the backup catcher is for the Dodgers. Let me take a look and see who their backup catcher is. Their backup catcher. Do they even have a backup catcher? I don't show a backup catcher on their roster. Oh, it's a guy named Gil Reyes who never hit. So due to the fact that I don't have a Gil Reyes card, we're going to override this injury chance for Trevino. We're going to have to leave him in the game because I just don't have anybody else to take his place. Plain and simple. Don't have anybody. So he'll catch that break because there's nobody else to take his place. So we're going to stick with Trevino in the game. Because the only catcher they have on the roster is Gil Reyes. He never had an at-bat in the game, in any of the season. He played some in the field, but never had an at-bat. So Trevino will stay in the game. All right, so we got guesses here. No, I'm sorry, not guesses. Jimmy gave us the answer. Jim Hickman of the Cubs was the batter. McDowell of the Tribe was the pitcher. And Amos Otis of the Royals was the outfielder. All right, very good. All right, here's Dave Anderson. 4-11. Ground ball first base X, we're looking at Keith Hernandez. They were not holding Stubbs on, so Hernandez keeps his 1E11, so you know he's going to get to it. The E11 and the 16, that's interesting. E11 and a 16. There's no 16, there's a 15 here, but Keith Hernandez is able to avoid the error, and he flips to Leach covering to end the inning. So we go to the top of the third. Fernando back out. He'll be facing Strawberry, Carter, and Johnson. 1-7 for Strawberry. And look at this, Jeff. Clean as a baby's ass. Clean as a baby's ass right here for Darryl Strawberry as he takes Fernando deep. Clean as a baby's ass. 1-7 against the lefty. Home run. Darryl Strawberry. In the 87 season, Strawberry hit 39 of them. I'm sure a lot of them were clean. In the replay, it's his 9th home run on the Strat replay. Here's Gary Carter. 1-4 for Carter is a pop-up to short. One away. So will be no game Saturday morning. Saturday night may be a Demolition League game. Sunday I'd take off. But Monday morning we'll be right back with the 87 American League June 2nd. Be Baltimore and Oakland be the first game. Dave Stewart against Mike Boddicker. Here's Hojo. 2-9, and that's a ballpark blast, but only a 3. So just a deep fly to left. And that'll bring up Rafael Santana. Hello, Frank, if I didn't say hello to you before. 2-6 against the lefty is a ground ball to short, and that will end the inning. But the blast from Darryl Strawberry has made it a 5-0 ball game as we go to the bottom of the third. Leading off will be Fernando Valenzuela using pitcher hitting card number 2, not number 1, number 2. It's a 6-8. Fernando's a lefty. 6-8 is going to be a single. 1-11, that's a 19, so he lines out to second base. Second line out of the game. Flip order back over to Steve Sachs. Three for Sachs. He's going to line out to short. Another line out. 2 down for T-Bone Shelby. 2-8, and that's a 1 for a double. Anything else he singles. 2-out single for T-Bone Shelby. Shelby, pretty good running, so they're going to take a chance, even though they're down 5-0. They need to spark something, so they're going to see if he can get the lead. I know it's a little bit unconventional to try to steal when you're down 5-0, but the odds are pretty good in his favor if he can get the lead. He can't get the lead, so there's no sweat off the back there. Here's Pedro Guerrero. 6-7, and that's a single to left field. That'll put runners at first and second with 2 down. Maybe the Dodgers with a 2-out rally, but who's coming up now but Marshall. He hit into the double play to kill the rally in the first inning. He's trying to avoid being a rally killer here in the third. 2-4, but he is. He grounds at the third. It would have been another double play had there been less than 2 outs, but it's just a regular old ground out. But Marshall just couldn't get it done. And we go to the top of the fourth, 5-0 Mets. And, of course, next Friday, I'll change this back. It is going to be June the 2nd. And we will have, and at least the ratings are all filled in now, so I'm ready to go when the time comes next week for the Pirates and the Braves. That'll be the June 2nd game. So Fernando, maybe on his last leg here, facing Mookie Wilson. I'm sorry, it's going to be Terry Leach. What am I doing? What am I doing there? Terry Leach, pitcher hitting card number 1. Will lead off. To 3-9, and that's a ground ball to third. 1 away. Back to the top of the order from Mookie Wilson. 4-5, switch hitter batting right-handed, is a fly to left field. So 2 up, 2 down by Fernando, but I mean, that doesn't always work either, you know. We've seen this movie before, you know, as Elton John sang, we've seen that movie too. Let's see if we get a different result this time. Mookie Wilson, 1-5, and that's a home run, 1-14, and it's gone. Like we said, we've seen that movie too, and we've seen it again. It's another rerun. 1-14 is a home run, and that's a 7. I'm sorry, not Mookie Wilson. What am I doing? It's supposed to be Tim Tuffle. I didn't move the cards around. Ugh. So it's ground ball to short. Not bad. I didn't move the Mookie Wilson card over. It was Tim Tuffle's at bat on that 1-5, and he grounds to short. So I take it back. All apologies to Elton John on that one. And Fernando gets out of the inning, 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 5-0 Mets, comfortably in control for now. And Franklin Stubbs, your batter. 6-5, and that's a solid double. Jeff, I don't know if you call the doubles clean as a baby's ass or not, but that's definitely clean right there. 6-5 double. Definitely clean. Here is Mickey Hatcher, third baseman. Nothing on the habit. 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Terry Leach. That is his first strikeout of the game. So Hatcher is retired. Here's Trevino. 3-5, and that's a strikeout again. So back-to-back strikeouts from Leach. First 2 of the game, and it gets them both this inning. And here's Anderson. Fernando is on deck. They might pinch hit for Fernando if it gets to that. 6-8, and that's a 1-4 single. 5-20 lines out, so it's a line out to short. And that will end the inning. That is the 4th line out in 4 innings. And the leadoff double goes for naught. So Fernando will pitch this inning, but they will pinch hit for him in the next inning. So this will be his last inning for sure. Due up for the Mets will be Keith Hernandez, Kevin McReynolds, and Strawberry, 2 of which hit home runs in their last at bat. Five, 6, and that's a strikeout for Fernando. That is his 4th strikeout. Bring up Kevin McReynolds. 2-5, and that's a ground ball to short. So Fernando may be going out with a bang. He's retired 8 in a row now. Going back to the home run from Strawberry. And now, speaking of Strawberry, he's up again. 2 outs, bases empty. 5-4. Ballpark single check, 1-9. That's a 6. So Strawberry gets the base hit. 2 out single from Strawberry. He's got a chance to get a lead of a 4, 5, or 6. And he gets the lead. He's going to go 18, being held as a 16. And a 0 quotient there. So 1-16, and he'll steal it. And he does. Stolen base for Strawberry. So Strawberry not paying attention to the scoreboard. He says, if I want to steal, I want to steal. And that's what he's going to do. There's Gary Carter. Now in a supposed clutch situation. 5-7, and it's a ground ball second base X. So we are looking at sacks. He's a 4E16. Like I said, look at all they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their fielders are rated as a 4. Not going to win many games like that. 4-7 is iffy for sacks. I think he'll get to it though. He will barely because he wasn't holding the runner on second base. So he will get to it with a G3. That is a 13, and he's an E16. No 13, so Sachs is able to make the play. And that will end the inning. And that will do it for Fernando. He's going to go 5 innings, giving up 5 runs, all of which were earned. Total of 6 hits. He walked 3, and he struck out 4. And he's on the hook for the loss, obviously. Terry Leach in position to get a win. We will need a pinch hitter for the Dodgers. So we'll look at their bench and see who they have available. From the left side, they have Ralph Bryant and Ken Landreau. Switch hitter Mariano Duncan. Right-hander Jeff Hamilton. So right now we are looking at Ralph Bryant. He's the best average of the lefties. He is 246 in the 87 season. Landreau only 203. So Ralph Bryant will pinch hit here in the 5th inning for the Dodgers. He'll be followed by Sachs and Shelby. Hello, Triple G. So we bring him in on the computer, Mr. Bryant. That's a 2-6 for Bryant. He's going to draw a walk. So a pinch hit walk for Ralph Bryant. That'll bring us back over to Steve Sachs. Nothing Mets here in the bottom of the 5th. 5-10 is a ballpark single check. 1-9. That is a 9. So Sachs gets himself a base hit. That's what the Dodgers need. They need to put together some hits and get some base runners. Maybe Guerrero or somebody, gets a deep one to get him back in the game. Here's John Shelby. 6-7, switch hitter Bain left. That's a single to center field for Shelby. Bryant will hold down 5-0. They're not going to take any chances. Bases are loaded for Pedro Guerrero. Bases loaded, nobody out. Pedro Guerrero. He could get them right back in the game with one swing of the bat. Oops. Guerrero had 27 home runs in the 87 season. So he's certainly capable. It's a 1-10, and that's a ballpark blast, but unfortunately it's only a 1-3. It will be a sacrifice fly to left, though. It is deep enough to score Bryant, and the Dodgers are on the board on the sacrifice fly from Pedro Guerrero. That's the good news. The bad news is, who's coming up now but Marshall. Trying to redeem himself. 1-6. He does not. He strikes out. That is 3rd strikeout for Mr. Leach. So Marshall having a rough go of it. So now it's up to Franklin Stubbs in a clutch situation. Stubbs in the clutch will gain a hit on 112 and 311. But boy, look at his column 1. If he could find, he's got 3 home runs sitting right there, staring at your face. That's a 1 for Leach, but he can't have a wild pitch. So 1-5. Oh, he just missed it. A 1-4 and 1-3 and 1-2 would have been home runs, but a 1-5 is a walk. It will just reload the bases. But he came back, as Maxwell Smart, Don Adams would have said, missed it by that much. Bases are loaded again. The baton is passed to Mickey Hatcher. Not your household name for a guy you want up in the clutch. Mickey Hatcher in the clutch, though, however, it's going to prove me wrong because he's got 3 base hits in the clutch. 2-7, 2-10, and 3-2. 4-7. Ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Santana. He's a 3E22. 3 and a 16, he'll get to that, but the E22 and the 14 could be a little problematic. E22 and a 14, There's a 15, but no 14. So Santana catches a break and makes the play, and the Dodgers leave them loaded. So the Dodgers are not cashing in the runners the way the Mets are. So we completed 5 here at Dodger Stadium. Score now 5-1. And the Dodgers will need a new pitcher. See if a double switch is needed. It certainly looks that way because we're already down to the 7th position. So most likely they will double switch out Mickey Hatcher. So Jeff Hamilton will come in to play third base, and he will bat in the 9th position. The pitcher spot will occur right here. So Jeff Hamilton will take over at third base in the 6th inning, batting in the 9th position, which means Mickey Hatcher's day is done. He's out of the lineup. But it does mean Hamilton will hit third next inning. And now the Dodgers will need a new pitcher. So let's look at their bullpen. Limited bullpen. At least for the players I have carded, it's limited. We have 1 left-hander, Matt Young, and then 3 right-handers, Tim Leary, Ken Howell, and Brian Holton. So I'm going to go on the computer and take a look and see who is the best fit to take over. Well, they've all got kind of a random thing going here. They're going to go to Ken Howell, a right-hander. On the double switch. So Ken Howell will be on to pitch for the Dodgers. Leaves Holton, Leary, and Young in the bullpen. Ken Howell, he's a 0 hold, so 0 all the way there. And he'll be facing Johnson, Santana, and Leach for the New York Mets here in the top of the 6th inning of a 5-1 ball game. Hojo, 4-9, switch hitter batting left. That's a walk. Leadoff walk. You can see got quite a few walks there in that column 4. He walks Hojo, brings up Rafael Santana. Leach is on deck, and he will hit 1-6, and that's a ground ball to short with a B, fielder's choice, 6-4. And that'll bring up Terry Leach using pitch hitting card number 1. Get the fielder's choice in play. Could bunt with Leach. Let me see what his bunt rating is on his computer because the card itself doesn't show it. His bunt rating is only a C, so he'd be a D bunter with the corners in. So they're actually, with the 5-1 lead, they're actually going to have him swing away and see what happens. They're not going to bunt. 6-9, ballpark blast. But you know he has weak power, so that's not going to work. Just a fly to left. 2 down. And that brings us back to Mookie Wilson. What am I doing here? I'm putting the wrong spot here. I'm putting these in the Dodger spot. What am I doing here? Walking a 6-4 fielder's choice. Good thing I've got the correction tape. I think when I was down here making these changes, my eyes were put over in here. So surprised somebody didn't yell at me for that. Fix all that. So Mookie Wilson it is, with 2 outs and the runner at first base. We get a 4-8, and that's another walk from Ken Howell. His second walk. First and second, 2 outs for Tim Tuffle. Mets could go to Backman now that the right-handers in the lineup, and it would help their defense. So they're going to bring in Wally Backman for Tuffle. I normally say I can't pinch hit until the 7th, but when pitching changes occur, that overrides that rule, that house rule. So when a pitching change has occurred, we will allow pinch hitting and stuff like that. So Backman is going to be your it's going to be your pinch hitter, and he will play second base in the 6th inning. Pinch hits in the 6th, second base in the 6th. So Wally Backman steps to the bat. We'll bring him on the Strat computer as well. Don't want to forget to do that to replace Tuffle. So Backman in a clutch situation. 6'3", switch hitter batting left is a fly ball left field X. That's going to be Pedro Guerrero. He's a 4.E8. That's trouble. That 4 there. 4 and a 4. That's going to get through for a base hit, probably a double, if I had to guess. 4 and a 4 is going to be a double, 2 stars. So Wally Backman with a pinch hit double. It'll score Santana. With the 2 stars, Wilson has to hold at third base. We'll check for an error. That's a 10. He's an E8. No error there, but a double for Wally Backman, a pinch hit double. And the Mets extend the lead to 6-1. And here comes Keith Hernandez. Second and third, 2 outs. 2-7 for Hernandez, struck him out to end the inning, but another run for the Mets, and they lead it 6-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Leach back out. This is his fatigue inning. For the Dodgers, it'll be Trevino, Anderson, and Hamilton. Trevino, Anderson, and Hamilton due up. .311 is a fly ball to right field plus injury again, but we're not going to do the injury thing because they don't have another catcher on the roster that is carded. So we have to let him stay in the game. Here's Dave Anderson. 2-7, and that is a single, solid single for Dave Anderson. He gets the solid single. And now we will see for the first time Jeff Hamilton. Hamilton, his first at bat since coming in for the double switch. Anderson not going anywhere, not being held. 2, possible balk or pass ball. Pass ball rating on Carter is only a 2. No pass ball. 3-7 for Hamilton, struck him out. That's out number 2. And for Leach, that is strikeout number 4. Top of the order now for Steve Sachs. 3-5 for Sachs. That's a double 1-7, single 8-20. We got a single 2 stars for Sachs. He's 3 for 4 from the leadoff position, but he's not getting any help from his teammates. So now runners at the corners, 2 outs for T-Bone Shelby. Clutch situation for Shelby. In the clutch against righties, he loses a hit on 3-7. Everywhere else he is neutral. That's a 1, but Leach cannot make a wild pitch. Oh, we got hop and dice, so we're going to re-roll everything. 4-9, switch hitter batting left-handed, pops him up to second base where Backman will put it away. And we go to the 7th inning. Still 6-1, Mets firmly in control. Howell will face McReynolds, Strawberry, and Carter. 2-5, and that's a ground ball to short, handled by Anderson, 1 away. They would like to get 2 innings out of Howell, then pinch hit for him because he is due up 4th next inning. Your Strawberry. 112 for Strawberry is a ballpark single check. 1 to 9, that's a base hit. Strawberry 3 for 4 on the day, including a home run. 1 out single. Here's Gary Carter. He is 1 for 3. Amazingly, the Dodgers have out-hit the Mets 9 to 8. That's a 2. Chance for balk or pass ball. We're looking at the pass ball range Ravino, which is just a 2. And there is no pass ball. Here's Carter. 6-5, and that's a strikeout for Howell. That is his second strikeout. And now we turn it over to Hojo, Howard Johnson. We get a 5-6 left-handed hitter. Is another strikeout for Howell. So he does reasonably well, I guess. 2 innings pitched, only allow 1 run. That's assuming we don't use him for the next inning. If he doesn't hit, they'll pitch him again a 3rd inning. So we'll see how it goes. Leach hanging on, but he's going to bat second next inning, so they'd like to get him through this inning if at all possible. And Pedro Guerrero will lead things off. 4-9, and that's going to be a line out to second base. Yet another line out. Hadn't had one in a while. Had 4 of them real early, and this is just the 5th one that came up. And here comes Marshall. Had a rough day. 4-7. Ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Santana. He's a 3E22. And Leach is a 2E22, by the way. 3-2 is going to be a base hit. So Marshall will finally get himself a base hit. 3-2 will be a base hit. That's an 11. Santana E22, no 11 there, but it is a base hit for Marshall. He gets his first hit of the game. And that'll take us to Franklin Stubbs. So Leach close to being fatigued, but not quite there yet. 2-7 struck him out. Strikeout for Leach. Strikeout number 5 for Leach. 2 down for Alex Trevino. Marshall at first. 2-6 for Trevino. He grounds to short to end the inning. And that'll do it for Leach. Leach is going to go 7 innings. Pitched very well. Only give up the 1 run. He scattered 10 hits. A lot of left on bases for the Dodgers. That's what's really, hurt them. The 1 run it was earned. And we'll go to the Strat computer just to make sure I got all of my wait a minute, that should not have been Trevino. My bad. Hold the phone. I didn't put the pitcher card in there to hold the place. That was actually Howell's at bat, not Trevino's. So hold the phone here. We're going to have a pinch hitter. And we're going to have Ken Landreau come in to pinch hit. Terry Leach is staying out there. Ken Landreau is going to pinch hit. We are at the pitcher spot thanks to the double switch. So Ken Landreau will pinch hit here in the 7th inning. So Leach not quite through the inning yet. There will be a pinch hitter for Ken Howell. And it will be another Ken Landreau. All right, so runners at first, 2 down. We get right back to where we needed to be, and here's Ken Landreau. 2-9 for Landreau. That's a single to center field. And that's going to keep the inning going. So once again, Jimmy, when a trivia question gets announced, somehow the inning keeps going. I don't know. It's a weird fact. It happens all the time with Kathy as well. Don't know why it is, but the strat god says, wait a minute, we got more game to play. So Terry Leach is now actually tired, but they're going to try to get him through the inning, if at all possible. So he's actually now allowed 11 hits. I'll have to fix the hit total as well. That's a 4-8, and that's a pop up to third, and now that ends the inning. So we need to fix this to an 11, not a 10 for the hits. So even more impressive, through 7 innings, he scattered 11 hits. Very messy score sheet. So Trevino pops it to third. And now the Dodgers will need a new pitcher. And now Leach, we can finally close the book on Leach. He's done. Dodgers will go to the bullpen. And they will bring on, let's see who's coming up for the Mets. Did they go to Matt Young or did they go somewhere else? They're going to go to Matt Young, a lefty. Matt Young. He's a -3 on the whole. Not that that matters. Howell goes 2 innings. So let's bring in Young. Go to the Strat computer. Howell, 2 innings pitched, 2 hits and a run. 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. All right, so Matt Young will be facing Santana, a pinch hitter for Leach. And then Wilson. So who's going to pinch hit for Leach? They will use Bill Almond, a right-hander. Bill Almond will pinch hit. So it'll be Santana and Almond due up here in the 8th. Almond pinch hits here in the 8th. So first things first, it is Santana. So Rafael Santana will lead off the 8th inning of a 6-1 ball game. All right, Jimmy Jam has given a trivia question about who was the last National League batter to hit 400. I do not know. I don't know if anybody else has a guess. Of course, Ted Williams was the last American League person to do it. But I'm not sure who the National League person was. All right, here is Santana. But if anybody wants to make a guess, go for it. 2-3, and that's a 1-5 triple. 6-20 is a single. That's a single for Rafael Santana. So Santana a base hit, and now the pinch hitter Almond is due up. I want to say it's somebody with the Giants, but I don't know for sure. And here is Bill Almond, pinch hitter. Just need to bring him on in the computer. So Billy Almond will pinch hit for Leach. 1 chance of a wild pitch on Matt Young. What is his wild pitch rating? Matt Young's wild pitch rating is an 11. No wild pitch. So blocked by Trevino. And here's Almond. 4-8, right-handed, is a strikeout. Strikeout for Young. Bill Terry, okay. I thought it was with the Giants. I wasn't sure, but I thought it was with the Giants. I thought there was somebody with the Giants that did that. Here's Mookie Wilson. It's a 4-7. 1-14 is a single. That's a 20, though, so it's another line out. That is the 5th line out in the ball game. I'm sorry, 6th line out of the ball game. And now here's Wally Backman. Doesn't usually play against lefties very often, but he's got no choice now because they don't have another second baseman. 1-8, and that's a ground ball to third to end the inning. So a scoreless inning for Matt Young. He'll come back and pitch the ninth as well. He's got 2 innings of fatigue lined up for him. And now the Mets will need a new pitcher. They're up 6-1 in the 8th inning, so you wouldn't normally think to go to one of your better pitchers. Probably one of the guys that's a mop-up type guy. So he's kind of a mop. He's not really a mop-up guy. He's a decent guy. Doug Sisk, right-hander. But we're not going to bring in McDowell or Orozco when the score's this far out. If he gets closer, we will. But Doug Sisk, right-hander, is going to be coming on for the Mets. Mr. Sisk. And he's got plenty of endurance where he can finish the game. He's got the 2 innings there. He was 3-1 with a save on the real season with a 3.46 ERA. We got Anderson, Hamilton, and Sachs due up for the Dodgers here in the bottom of the 8th. 1-6 is a strikeout. So Sisk strikes out Anderson to start the bottom of the 8th. Bring up Jeff Hamilton, third baseman. 4-9, and that is a walk. Steve Sachs is 3 for 4 on the day. That was against Leach. This is his first at bat against Sisk. 2-6 for Sachs. He grounds into a tailor-made 6-4-3 double play. Giovanni's Tailor Shop sponsoring another tailor-made double play. 6-4-3. And we go to the 9th inning. Score still 6-1 favor of the Mets. And due up for the Mets, it'll be Hernandez, McReynolds, and Strawberry, heart of the order, as they lead it 6-1. 4-4 is a catcher X. We're looking at Trevino. He's a 4E10, but nobody's on base. So no wild pitch or pass ball. 4-12. See what that is. 4-12 is going to be a foul out. That's an 8, and he's an E10. There's no 8 there, so it's just a foul out to Trevino. We're out number 1. And that's going to send up McReynolds. 3-5 for McReynolds, and there you go, Jeffrey, if you're still around. Clean as a baby's ass right here, 3-5. Solid home run, clean as a baby's ass. And if you look at the score sheet now, you've got the heart of the order, Hernandez, McReynolds, and Strawberry, each with a home run in the game. Kevin McReynolds makes it 7-1. And for McReynolds, that's his 8th home run in the replay by the Strat computer. But it is clean as a baby's ass, no question about it. Here's Strawberry. .611, and that's a ballpark single check. That's a 5. It's a base hit for Strawberry. Strawberry 4 for 5 on the game, including a home run. He's bucking for player of the game, along with Terry Leach. 3-4 for Carter, and that's a pop out to short, out number 2. And we'll get Hojo, Howard Johnson, stepping to the plate. 1-2 for Hojo. And there you go. Another one, Jeffrey. Clean as a baby's ass. Again, 1-2 against the left-hander is a solid home run from Hojo for the Mets. That is their 4th home run of the game. And all the big guys are doing it. All the usual suspects, you would say. Hojo with his 10th home run on the replay. It is now 8-1. Matt Young is tired, but they're not going to waste another pitcher, so they're going to let Santana swing away and let Young face him. 5-11. That's a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Stubbs. He's a 4.E9. 4 and a 13. 4 and a 13 is a G3. That's a 7, and he's an E9. There is a 7 right there for Stubbs. He boots it. On the E9, a 7 is right there. So Stubbs will boot it. 2 outs. And now the pitcher spot, Doug Sisk will go ahead and bat. I mean, they're up 8-1. Why would you pinch hit for Doug Sisk when you're up 8-1? Doug Sisk uses pitcher hitting card number 1. It's a very rare chance to see a relief pitcher get in at bat. It is Doug Sisk. Gets the at bat. It's a 3-11, and that is a fly ball to center field to end the inning. But 2 runs come in for the Mets. Close the book on Young. He's done. He went 2 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, both of them home runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. So we go to the bottom of the 9th, last opportunity for the Dodgers. It'll be Shelby, Guerrero, and Marshall due up here in the bottom of the 9th. One 7, and that is a strikeout. Shelby out on strikes. 1 away for Pedro Guerrero. 1-5, and there you go, Jeffrey. Another one. I'm going to run out of baby wipes here. 1-5, clean as a baby's ass for Pedro Guerrero. 1-5. It is gone. Makes it now a score of 9-2. Guerrero's 9th home run of the replay. And here comes Marshall, whatever. 5-8, and that's a fly to center. Hauled in by Mookie Wilson, 2 down. And we're up to Franklin Stubbs, last chance. Saloon for the Dodgers in this 9-2 ball game. Both teams with 12 hits and 1 error. 4-5, and that's going to be the Dodgers are going to out-hit the Mets now. 1-15 is a double. That'll be a single. Single for Stubbs, and that is the Dodgers' 13th hit of the game. They've out-hit the Mets 13-12 now. But it hasn't done a bit of good. Here's Trevino. I'm sorry, not Trevino. We're at the pitcher spot again. Matt Young. So we need a pinch hitter. Pinch hitter for the Dodgers. They don't have any more lefties. They do have a switch hitter in Duncan, but he's a terrible hitter at 215. But that might be all they have left because the other 2 guys are non-carded. Yep. So we're pretty much down to Mariano Duncan. He's the last one available. Reggie Williams is not carded, so I don't have a card for him. He's a righty. But we'll go with Mariano Duncan, the switch hitter. Duncan will get the call. Pinch hit. Here in the 9th. Mariano Duncan. So Duncan will pinch hit. Switch hitter. Batting left-handed against Doug Sisk. It's a 3-8 for Duncan, and he strikes out to end the ball game. Dodgers put a run on the board, but it doesn't really help them too much. 9-12-1 for the Mets. 2-13-1 for the Dodgers. And this doubleheader has now been completed. Go to the box score and get the totals. I didn't finish out the totals for Leach. 7 innings pitched, 11 hits, a run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He is your winner. He improves to 3-1. Valenzuela, the loser, drops to 4-6. Sisk with 2 innings pitched, 2 hits and a run. That was the home run by Guerrero. 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. Dodgers left 13 on base, and Mets left on 9. Player of the game, Darryl Strawberry. You went 4 for 5, including a home run. And for Strawberry, that was home run number 9. Not dream number 9, but home run number 9 for Strawberry. Hernandez hit his 8th home run. And, of course, McReynolds his 8th. Johnson his 10th. Guerrero his 9th for the Dodgers. No triple header. No threat of that. Oh, you know what? Thank you for that, Max. I missed that. It is actually 3 runs to make it. I was wondering why this didn't total 9. It was actually 3 runs. 9 is correct, but I didn't put in didn't fill in the Strawberry scoring the run there. So Strawberry actually scored 2 runs. He had 4 hits, including a home run, scored 2 runs. So he is the player of the game. So there's your final line score. Next week on, I guess it'll be Friday probably, maybe Saturday. I don't know. See how things go, particularly with the holidays and stuff coming up. So Thursday, I forgot Thursday, Thanksgiving may throw a wrench in some of this. But we'll see. But next week, the National League game on June the 2nd will be Atlanta and Pittsburgh. It was a game I was going to play today, but I got out of order, so had to fix that. But that's where we're going with that. So what I'm going to be doing now, later today, I guess tomorrow as well, is getting my score sheets ready for next week's games in the 1987 American League replay. I will fix the thumbnail for this one, for this stream, to signify a doubleheader. And I do appreciate all you guys sticking with me through the whole doubleheader. Boy, we made it all the way up to noon. Wow. Almost 3 hours, about 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think, is the full length there. But in the American League replay, Monday morning, we will have Oakland and Baltimore. And it will be Dave Stewart for the A's against Mike Boddicker for the Baltimore Orioles. We played 341 games in the American League replay, so it'll be game 342 coming up in that one. So let's go do it from here. I know I need a little breather. I need to refresh my coffee. Probably grab a bite to eat. I have not had breakfast other than coffee, so I'll probably eat a sandwich or something, or maybe I'll have a very, very late breakfast. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But until next time, enjoy whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.